Unmarket Your Business, the podcast, born out of the need to share strategies and techniques that really work to market your business. Think yellow page ads and cold calls are your only choices? That's so last century. You're about to learn tested, tried and true marketing techniques you can apply and master, ones that feel authentic instead of salesy, strategies that are true to who you are and how you want to present yourself to your ideal clients. Let's join our host, Carol Joyce Dunlop, in the studio now and allow business success to move forward. Hey, everyone. Hey, it's your hostess with the mostest, Carol J. Dunlop. So glad to have you here. I'm also known as the Online Wow Strategist and Amazon #1 international best-selling author for my book, Unmarket Your Business, 10 Ways for Savvy Entrepreneurs to Stand Out, Stop Struggling, and Start Profiting. I hope you're doing well today, and I wanted to let you know also that this podcast, this episode is being sponsored by Creative Services International. When you look at your website, do people go, oh, that's a wow, or do they say, whoa, what is that? So we definitely want them to be saying wow, and if you are in the market for a new website or to spice up the one that you have, please go to our website, www.csicorporation.com/wow-websites, and you'll see some of our portfolio. You'll see who we've interacted with, how we've helped them, and you'll also get the opportunity to schedule a time so we can talk about your own WOW website. That's csicorporation.com/wow-websites. Can't wait to talk with you. Okay, now today we are talking about how to turn your book into a podcast. You're listening to the Unmarket Your Business podcast. This episode is for aspiring and also present authors, and plus those people who are just beginning to think about writing a book. Maybe it's been on your mind for years, maybe months, weeks, days, and you're like, it would be kind of cool to write a book. So if that's you, or maybe you've already written your book and now you're thinking about marketing it, getting it out into the world, or maybe in general you just have questions about marketing a book. Okay, I'm writing this sucker. How can I get people to buy it? Any of those, say yes, or strike a chord with you. This is the episode for you. I'm going to help you turn your book into a money-making venture. Now, as an author myself, I had always wanted to write a book, but what I didn't realize was how beneficial writing a book could be to my business. And today I'm going to share with you how to leverage a book to bring more exposure, secure yourself as the expert, and expand your reach by turning your book into a podcast. That might sound a little scary to you, but it's really not. And I actually cover this whole thing in my book, Unmarket Your Business, and I don't have the chapter around at hand, and the chapter is Show Out, Chapter 11, Show Out. I talk about the equipment, I talk about going live versus recorded, what it's like to get guests, how to get guests, everything. I just break the whole thing down. Plus, at the end of the chapter, you can get a checklist of what you need to do to actually create a podcast. And what you may or may not know, this podcast is going into its third year. Yay, me, I love it. And this podcast started out because I wanted to promote my book. And I figured what better way than to get into the minds of my target audience, or people who are thinking about marketing, or rather unmarketing, because unmarketing was a new term, and I created that thing. In a way, unmarket your business is what I created, not just unmarketing. So, and the concept is to turn traditional marketing on its head and show you that you need to be marketing a different way now in 2019. At the time it's 2017 than you have before, because the old stuff just isn't going to work. Now, the old stuff is still good. Cold calling still works if you want to do it. There are ways to do it. Having business cards, sending out letters and all that stuff still works. There's some other things that you can do. Getting advertising and purchasing advertising in magazines and stuff, but that can't be your only way. You've got to do some new things. So that was the premise of getting this whole Unmarketing Nation together. And so in order to actually promote my book and bring awareness, that it was out there, I was like, I need to start a podcast because I love podcasting. I love to talk, as you might know, and I love for people to listen. So hopefully, you're okay with listening to me. And I've been told that I have some good ideas, and that the things that I tell people to do actually work. So I was like, why not spread the word? And I knew that podcasting was a great way for me to spread the word because it's easy for people to listen to you. They can take a podcast and play it when they're in the gym. They can play it at home when they're cooking, when they're relaxing. Excuse me. You usually have your phone with you, so you just look up a podcast and start listening to it. Now there's so many outlets. Before, when I first started in 2009, there wasn't a lot of outlets or places to put your podcast. Now there's everything. And this podcast, Unmarket Your Business, is actually syndicated to like 9 different places. Once I finish with the actual recording, it's automatically uploaded to YouTube. So if you like video and listening, you can use that. It's on Stitcher, it's on iTunes, and iHeartRadio, Spotify, still on Blog Talk Radio, and now I'm on Anchor.fm. That's my new home. So happy that I changed over, and I'm doing it in a new way, which I'm going to get into in a minute. So I've got six steps for you, and you can turn your book into a podcast. So let's get going with that. So number one, how can you do this? Number one, you already have the subject. So most people who are thinking of starting a podcast don't know what subject they're going to talk about. They don't know, how they can keep people's attention for, episode after episode after episode, but you already have your book. So really take the basis of your book and translate it into your podcast. And for me, I used my example, Unmarket Your Business. What I started out doing, and I still do it, I have guests. Sometimes I have guests on, sometimes it's just me. And the guests that I bring on are actual business owners who are talking about how they market their business. So you may say, oh, Carol, why would I want to hear that? Because some of them have some great unmarketing ways that they, use to get the word out about what they're doing. And it's really cool, and I wanted to showcase it. Some things I have thought about, some things I haven't thought about. Like in my book, for instance, I have 10 strategies that I use. 1 was writing a book. 2 is mastering social media. 3 is joining an organization, and it's called Running for President, how you get into an organization and work all the way up to the top so that you're president, or you just work your way through the organization so that as you're building the organization, you're actually building your business too. So there are just 3 ways of marketing your business, but there are so many different ways. There's HARO, help a reporter out. There's, using a podcast as one, hint, hint. And then there are several other ways, and sometimes entrepreneurs just think of different things because we're entrepreneurs. We're thinking out of the box from the beginning. So you already have your subject, so how will you translate it into podcast episodes? For me, what I did was I had a summit. The very first thing before the book came out, I ran a summit. It was 1 week. It was 15 presenters, and I actually talked about it on a couple of episodes from here. And actually, I still have this up. I was going to take it down, but I left it up. You can get a 48-hour free pass to listen to as many of the summit presentations as you want. All you have to do is go to csicorporation.com/summit, SUMMIT, and when you sign up, you'll get 48 hours to actually listen to as many and download the Business Success Activation Guide, all that good stuff. So I did that first, and then right just before the summit started, I started the podcast to promote the summit, which also promoted the book. And then when the summit ended, the podcast kept going. And in the beginning, for the first year, 1 month, each month related to a different chapter in the book. So it was really kind of cool. So you could do something like that. You could follow my example, or you could do your own. Maybe your book is about empowerment. Maybe you wrote a memoir about your life. You went through some tragedy or fantastical situation, and you came out on the other end better for it, and you want to try to help people who are going through something similar or something totally different to empower their lives. And maybe your podcast is all about empowerment, and maybe you have empowerment guests are people who have been through similar things in their life and they're empowering people. Or maybe you just get on there and talk about your program and how your program can help empower them, and each episode is a different piece of the program or a different revelation. Those are different things you could do. The second thing you need to do is pick a platform. Now, when you go through my book, at that time I was on Blog Talk Radio, the live blogging, podcasting platform that I loved. Well, if you're listening to this right now and you've been listening for a while, you'll know that I kind of got ticked with them, and I was like, I really want to start something new for 2019. So I switched over to Anchor.fm, and all my feeds should be, if you are a former Blog Talk Radio listener and now you're getting this feed and you hear that I'm on Anchor, it means that my forwarding has worked. If Anchor and you don't even know what Blog Talk Radio is, let me tell you, it is a live podcasting platform. I loved it. I did my Fit for Life radio on it for, I kept that for 9 years. Then I came off and I started the podcast on it going into my third year. And then I was like, I want to do something new, which I am totally privileged to do. And I switched over to Anchor. So BTR, Blog Talk Radio, is actually live. You log on, it says, hey, we're going live. You're in the studio. The live button there is really kind of cool. And you do your podcast live. People can actually call in live while you're broadcasting and ask you questions. I found that I didn't have a lot of people that call in live. They just downloaded stuff. Y'all know you downloaded it. You downloaded this episode, right? So and the main reason that I kept live because, I could just do it. I could just do it live. I didn't have to do anything after, and that was always my reasoning. But when I got ticked that I couldn't get on the platform at that certain time, I was like, hey, I'm going to switch over. Because I had already set up Anchor to broadcast my episodes that I was taking off of Blog Talk Radio. So let's go straight Anchor. Let's go straight Anchor, and that's what I did. So Anchor is basically a recorded platform. You record your episodes and then you upload them, and then they play it. They do a lot of stuff for you. They'll find you sponsors. They'll get you on these other platforms. Because with Blog Talk Radio I had to get on the platforms myself, but Anchor will do it for you. So I'm liking it. I'm liking it for now. Who knows what will happen in the future. And if you are a Blog Talk Radio listener, just know that all those episodes that are on Blog Talk Radio right now will stay there. I'm not planning on taking it down because that's just another way that I can keep things out there. I just am not going to add any new ones. Third thing is you need to choose a start date. So nothing happens until you take action. So I want you to choose a start date. Give yourself, I would say, 6 weeks, because you need about 6 weeks to promote the thing. You have to come up with a title. You already know the subject. You have to decide if you're going to have guests. If you're going to have guests, you have to ask them and get them, get the thing recorded or get them set up so they can go live. So choose a start date. That should be pretty simple. And I want you to put it in your calendar and don't deviate from that date, because there's so many things that will come up. I've talked to plenty of clients who say, oh, I was going to do this, but, now I'm doing that, blah, blah, blah. So pick a date, stick to it, take action. Number 4, you need to create your promo graphics. Use that ever-popular online platform, Canva.com, to go and create your graphics, or you can use PowerPoint, or I think people are still using PicMonkey. You can use that. Let's see, but Photoshop has an online version called Pixlr, Pixlr.com. You can use those. And if you're not graphically inclined, you can always go to Fiverr, Fiverr.com, or reach out to your audience member, say, who's a graphic designer who wants to, I need to hire someone to create my graphics for me. So either way, you need promo graphics for your site. The most important one is you'll need one for the actual page that the site is going to live on, and that's usually 1400 by 1400. And when you do your graphic, make sure it's in that format, in that square format. So then that really makes it easier to share everywhere. You can share on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that, and basically on your page. And then you'll need some other promo graphics like your Facebook posts and graphics that are specific to each platform so you can promote. Number 5, decide whether you're going to do guests or solo, or you're going to have a combination. As I said, I do both. Right now it's solo, it's just me, but I do have guests on. Maybe your podcast is going to be only guests. The good thing about having guests is that they're going to market it to their audience, so you'll get introduced to a new audience every time you have a guest on, and that can be really good for, especially for a brand new podcast just starting and getting following. And then number 6, go live, man. Just go live. Just do it. You already set the date. You already know the subject. So let me go back through again. So first, come up with a subject. Of course, it's your book. Just figure out how you're going to translate your book into the podcast. Number 2, pick the platform you're going to go on. One thing I forgot to mention about Blog Talk Radio and Anchor, they are both free. Blog Talk Radio gives you 30 minutes. You could broadcast every day for 30 minutes a day. Anchor gives you, I think you have an unlimited time with them. If you live record it using their app or whatever, it's only 30 minutes, but you can record a longer one and put it up there. Third thing is choose a start date. Grab your calendar, mark down a date, and set the go time. Number 4, create your promo graphics. Number 5, see if you're going to go guest or a solo or a combination of both. And number 6, go live. Now, I did kind of leave out a couple of steps, and that is your content. Of course, you're using the subject matter from your book, but you got to figure out what you're going to say on each one. And there's, with me, I usually don't write out a script. Now, some people do. Some people write out a script. They follow along on the script because, you're not being videoed or anything, but you can do a video podcast. I do cover that in the book, how you can do that. But for this instance, we're just talking about audio podcast, so nobody can see you, so you can read from a script if you want. To me, that's a little too stiff. I do write notes about what I want to cover and, bullet points and stuff, but I just go off a limb and say what I want to say and do it like I want to do it, so that helps me a lot. So you may want to do that. But the thing is to go live. And once you go live, once you say, hey, this is a day and I'm doing it, boom, you've done it. You've gotten that first episode down, and you're like, oh, I can release. I can okay, I'm ready. Good things are happening. This is awesome sauce. But even though you've just followed my 6 steps, even though you've got your podcast out there and rolling, the work has just begun. What the hey, you say, Carol? The work has just begun. Now you got to let people know. Now, of course, if you go on Anchor or even Blog Talk Radio, they're going to kind of put your link out there within their system. And Anchor, like I said, goes the extra step of trying to find you sponsors, getting you on other platforms. But it is not created and they will come. I'm here to tell you right now, it ain't like that. You have to market that sucker, which is what this podcast is all about. Unmarket your business, and we can call it unmarket your podcast, unmarket your book. You got to market that thing, and that what does marketing mean? It means you have to tell people. You have to physically open your mouth and tell people, hey, I have a podcast. It's on. You can find it here, and I want you to listen to it at this time. You can tell them how long it is if you want. You can say, hey, I've got some great guests coming up, or you can say, I've got some great content I'm going to share with you, showing you how to do blank, and you fill in the blank with what you're going to do. So you got to tell them. How do you tell people? Well, my number one way of getting the word out is social media, specifically Facebook. Facebook is my number one platform for getting the word out about what I'm doing, for sharing with my people, for finding my people, and for marketing to my people. And remember, marketing is only getting the word out. That's what it means, getting the word out. How can you do it? You can write some blogs, and in that blog you can say, hey, I got a new podcast coming up. It's about blah, 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 blah. And if you listen to it, you're going to be able to blah, 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 and it's on at this time, and I would love for you to listen. And then after your podcast episodes are complete, then what do? You share them. So that's another way of marketing. You share them out. Share them to whatever your choice platform is. That's what you share it to first, but you can share it on the other ones. Like my podcast is shared everywhere it's on. I try to make sure it's shared on Pinterest, it's on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I put it everywhere I can. So that's what you got to do. Because if you think about it, on Facebook, for instance, there's like 2 billion people. If you could just get like 1% of those people to check your podcast out, how awesome will that be? Now, because of the algorithms on any social media platform, you're going to have to do some advertising. But the great news about that is advertising on Facebook is very cheap, very cheap. I mean, for $5, you can actually boost your posts, which I was against at first, but then don't tell me an old dog can't learn new tricks. I learned that, if you just boost like a video and then you come back and retarget the people who checked out your video, you can really build an audience that way. Who would have known? Who would have known? So, that's how you do, right? So you learn new things, you do new things, you do it a new way. Remember I said that you can't use simply the old marketing techniques, the traditional marketing techniques that we used 10, 15 years ago to get ahead in today's world. They just don't work. They don't work as well. And what used to work before does not work now. You're listening to the Unmarket Your Business podcast. You have to be doing these new things, these unmarketing things, to get your stuff out there. So another way of marketing, I talked about blogs. This is key. If you have a podcast, then other podcasters are going to want you to come onto their podcast if you have valuable content. And you have valuable content. You have your book, right? So you can say, hey, I started a new podcast. I'm talking about whatever the subject is. I'd love to come on your podcast and talk about how this subject that I'm talking about can help your audience. Because it has to be, you have to remember that everybody listens to that radio station, that podcast, that blog they're all reading, the What's in It for Me, WIIFM, What's in It for Me. So you can't just go to other podcasters and say, hey, I just got a book and I started a new podcast, I want to come on your show. They'll go, okay, that's good for you. And why should I have you on my show? Why do I need to tell my listeners about you? Got to have some compelling information to share with them. And this is how you spin it. You say, I'm talking about this, and this is your subject, and this subject is going to help your listeners do that. That is the outcome or the result they want. So you can find podcasters who cater to your target audience, who are part of your target audience, and go on there and share something really awesome with them. Talk about the content and the value, great value you're going to bring to their life. And then at the end, you can always say, I would do this. I wouldn't promote my podcast. I would promote a freebie that you're giving to them. So you can always say, hey, I have a podcast on blah, blah, blah. I love you to listen. Bam. That's good, right? But you're not getting people on your list. So getting people on your list is like getting extra audience members that you can market to. So what I would suggest that you do is have a freebie that you're going to give the guest. And you can say, hey, this has been, if you think that this content has been great, I've got something great to give your guests, and this is what it is. It can be from your book. Maybe it can be a free chapter, or more. Maybe it can be 10 ways to a cheat sheet on how to, a resource list, something. And you say to get it, just go to this landing page, www.whatever. It can be on your site, or I would suggest that it be off of your site. So my site is csicorporation.com. I create all my landing pages to come off of my website. So csicorporation.com/whatever the landing page name is. And you go right there, you can get your free resource list, 10 steps, 10 checklists, whatever. And how do they get it? They give you their email and their name. So once they give you their name and their email, then they get that resource. So you just say, go to this landing page, and you'll be able to get my resource or tips or tricks or whatever it is, and they'll know that when they get to the page, it says, do you want this? Yes. Give me your name and your email. And if it's compelling enough, if they really want it enough, if they liked you enough, if they found your content valuable, they will enter their email and name, and now you have what? A new subscriber. A new subscriber means that you have a new person that you can market to, otherwise email to, and tell them about the greatness that you can help them achieve. So that's the real reason of why you want to turn your book into a podcast. That's the reason that you wrote the book, so you can find more people to market to who want to buy from you over and over again. Don't get it twisted. This is the way you succeed in business, because you have to get the word out some way, right? So you might as well take advantage of the ways that are out there, so you can not only get the word out about what you're doing, but you can also create advocates for your business, people who really buy into what you're saying, people who love what you're doing and will buy just about anything you have out there because they want more of what you got. And if you think about it, all the experience and knowledge and information that you've created in your brain, that you've come up with, that you've designed or whatever, you can't put that whole thing in a book. Even if you put the exact template you use to create success in your life and business, which is what I did with my book, Unmarket Your Business, people are not going to follow that exact template. They're going to read it, or they're going to half read it, and they need you to go to the next level. Right? So you see what I'm saying? You getting what I'm putting down? Okay, awesome. I'm so glad. All right, so podcasting is only one of 7 ways that I was able to leverage my book to add an additional $10,000 to the bottom line of my business. It was only one of 7. I've got 6 more ways that I can help you, whether you are thinking about writing a book, you've already written a book, or you just now like, darn, I should write a book. If you're in one of those categories, I can help you. And podcasting, creating a podcast from your book, is only one of those ways. So I want to share those other 6 ways with you in a brand new masterclass that I've created, and it's entitled, check this out, How to Make Money with Your Book Even If You Never Sell a Single Copy. Hot, right? How to make money with your book even if you never sell a single copy. And I did all 7 of these things, and this is what's been able to help me add $10,000 to my bottom line from my book, and it doesn't include book sales. Book sales were, even though I'm an Amazon #1 international best-selling author, book sales were minimal when it came to adding that $10,000, and I'm going to share those with you. So if you will go to CSIcorporation.com/authority-MC, authority, M-C, AUTHORITY, MC. So CSIcorporation.com/authority-MC. You can sign up for my masterclass. It takes place on Thursday, February 28th at 8 p.m. Now, this is not I'm going to tell you all this stuff and then you go away and try to do it. We are doing hands-on live training. Bring your pen and paper, your laptop, your iPad, whatever you take notes on, and we're going to do this doggone thing. I'm going to share with you the exact steps I've taken, and you're going to be blown away at how easy and simple they are, and how, not only that, but how much they can give you back, ROI, return on investment. Because you're going to put a lot of time, or you have put a lot of time, energy, effort, and money into getting this book done. You might as well get some ROI, return on investment, with this thing, right? And I'm going to show you how to do it. I got 7 ways, like I said, that I am still using right now today. Podcasting is one of them. I'm on a podcast. You're listening to it. I have made money from this podcast. I've been introduced to collaborators and JV partners and people who have actually paid me from this podcast. So it was a great way to have a return on investment in my book. So, hey, and my book didn't even cost me $10,000. I'm telling you right now. It did not cost me $10,000 to create that book. So come to the masterclass. Grab your seat right now, CSIcorporation.com/authority-MC. You won't be disappointed. You will be happy that you did it, and it's going to be totally awesome. So I will see you there. So sign up right now. And thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of the Unmarketing Nation of entrepreneurs who are just doing it right now and, saying goodbye to that old traditional stuff and saying hello and welcome and thank you to the new way of doing things. It's unmarketing, baby. So I will see you next time. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye for now. Thanks for listening. We truly appreciate it. For information about guests, products, or services that were mentioned in this episode, log on to our website at www.csicorporation.com/unmarketing. To learn more, get a glimpse of our upcoming schedule, and join the Unmarketing Nation of entrepreneurs who are using marketing techniques that work right now. Until next time, keep moving forward.